Hey, what's up, guys? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound, and we have the Wednesday edition of the Pocket Change Market Report coming at you here for April 26, 2023. Great news, we have one more PCMR for the month, so don't you worry. We're going to close out April in a huge way. It's amazing what you can find out there, and we're going to highlight a lot of the errors and varieties that folks like you and I can find out there in the wild. Pocket change hunting, coin roll hunting. If you're an avid cherry picker and you like to go to the shows, even going to a coin shop or a show, as you guys know, there's a really big show in Schaumburg. The Central States Numismatic Show is in town. That's where everyone's going to be. Go out there, do some cherry picking. I'm willing to bet that you guys will find some pretty amazing stuff. Now, a lot of the coins you see here, there's a lot of resellers, okay? It's going to be a great way to make a few bucks. I know people that do this as a full-time job, to go along with the coin roll hunting. But also it's going to represent a really cost-effective way of adding some premier errors and varieties to your own collection. All right, so sometimes it's not about the resale, but surely doesn't hurt to make a few bucks here and there and to line your wallet with some cash. So there's a lot to unwrap here. We got about 12 hours worth of sales activity from eBay that we're going to cover. A lot of big ones, including a coin that I've never seen before that emerges, and it begs kind of this question. Could there be any more of this coin out there? And could they even be more wilder than the one that we're going to talk about today? Stay tuned with that. A few other little things to keep in mind. We don't talk about graded coins. That extra added expense of grading any of these is not necessary. It could be pretty expensive in the long run, especially if you're reselling these. Sometimes it just makes sense not to do that at all and sell it raw. And another thing, before we jump in, all of the listings that you see here, the photos are original to those listings. We didn't juice or doctor any of them. So you're going to get the best and worst photos on this one. You might even get a little photography lesson, if we get there. But all that aside, let's go ahead and kind of roll along here. So hopefully you guys are doing well and you guys are finding some heavy hitters out there in circulation. So we do have a final end of the month. Actually, it's kind of like a 2-day event. We have a Friday and Saturday show on the platform Whatnot. Come check us out on there, where you have an opportunity to pick up a really nice type coin or some silver, add it to your collection, and you get to hang out with your boy Blue. All right, so that's this Friday. It's the U.S. type end of month auction. I don't know how it'll go, but it might be an opportunity for a few of you to pick up some really big deals. Again, the Central States Numismatic Show is going on during this time, so I might, there's a little conflict of interest there. Or just conflict in general, because, a lot of you will probably be at the show. But it will be this Friday, April 28th, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you guys there. The links will be down below in the description box. One for the referral link to get your $15 in store credit that you could use right away. And also the link to this Friday stream. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right into these coins and pieces of paper. Starting out with this 1981 $10 Fed Reserve note. Good looking piece here, but looking from at the front of the note, there doesn't seem anything to be weird about it. So this is going to be a lesson for you guys to look at both sides of the note. And sure, this is a 1981 10, a little bit older, but you could also find the same thing on much newer notes as well. So this one right here, we have a either you call it a solvent smear or an ink smear. It's one of the two, but you have the same color green on the back, which is what you want to see. If you see any other color back there other than the green, it's not a solvent smear. I've had folks that have sent photos to me personally asking if it's a ink smear, but on the back it shows a black smear. No, it doesn't work out that way. Because this is just this is an ink run from the green well that is used specifically to print the backs of the notes, okay, which is what they call print 1 or the first printing process of printing currency. So they print the backs first, and then they do all the front stuff afterwards. This one right here, ungraded, ended up selling for $47.75 with 4 bids. It's got a little circulation wear. Kind of hard to believe that this thing even made its rounds to a few cash registers, but someone with an eagle eye did pull this out. The next one that we have here, a good old Sally Ride quarter from last year, featuring a pretty strong strike through right on Washington's neck and ponytail. This is what they commonly refer to as a field restricted strike through, which is simply the feeder finger that usually inserts the fresh planchet into the striking chamber before it's struck, will make contact with the die. All right, so you're going to get little feeder finger scrapes on these, in addition to a little bit of grease that's been pushed around. So when it strikes through onto a coin, it's going to leave an omission of detail, like this one you see here. Yeah, I mean, arrows, they're a little funky, but they work in this particular instance. Did prices on these go back up? Because they got down to like $10-15. This one right here, really nice condition, ended up selling for $46.98. So mad props to the seller on this one. Good way to kind of revive something back from the dead. Okay, our first lot, and we do have a few of them to talk about today. We have a lot of 4 off-center struck Lincoln Memorials. I always tell folks, look out for these. These could open up a little possibility to resell, especially if you could get these at a relatively low cost. So the 4 here, nothing too crazy. I would say, you know, I mean, the one Lincoln Cent bottom right has some gunk crap on the reverse of it. So, you know, you'd have to take care of that before you resell it. But these all have either a partial readable date or none at all. And as we all know, when it comes to off-center struck coins like this, having a readable date is important to the collector because they do collect these by date. So this 4 coin lot sold for $45 at about, I don't know, $11 and some change. You know, this is going to be an opportunity, hopefully, to double up your money. I could see these being sold for $19.99 a piece, or maybe a little bit more, whatever it takes to make the sale. But you know, more likely these are coins that are going to hang around your store for a little while. So this is more of a supplemental ad if you're going to resell these. Okay, we got another American Women quarter. Good old Edith Kanaka-Ole making an appearance. This is the newest and freshest design out right now. It's actually been out for, I think, about a month now. So it's nothing too new. The next one, I believe, comes out either the end of May or in June. So yeah, we're rolling right along for 2023 American Women quarters. This particular one right here actually is pretty neat. It's a first-timer here. Kind of, you know, pulling back the Kansas statehood quarter In God We Rust anomaly, which is a filled die thing that happened here. So the part of the die, the letter T in trust filled up with grease and debris, and it hardened like a rock to where, you know, when it strikes up new coins, it's just not going to show up. And for whatever reason, it's always the first T in trust. So now we have a new version of the Kansas statehood quarter error that has quite an audience. This time on the Edith Kanaka-Ole quarter. So look out for these. This one sold for $7.50 with 17 bids. Now that the word's out, you know, we might see the prices rise a little bit on these. It's possible, you know, but I take nothing away from the OG, the Kansas quarter, because those things, even to this day, still sell for around $10-15 on average. The next one that we have here, guys, look at your 1943 Lincolns. Even in coins in this roughest shape right here, deserve a second look. You're always going to look on the reverse on the wheat stocks. This particular one has a what they call retained cud die break or pre-cud. Probably somewhere along the line, this is going to turn into a full-blown cud, but you can see this die crack that enters one part of the rim It goes through the wheat stalk, and there's a little bit of displacement, nothing too crazy there, and then that crack exits the other way. So if you have 2 entry points with a crack, and you could identify the crack as it goes through the devices, and if you have a little bit of displacement, congratulations, that is a pre-cut. This one right here is sold for $26.06. Keep in mind the condition of this coin. This thing is very well circulated. Here's our other 4-coin lot of off-center strikes, and this one is a little bit more promising, and the price isn't too far off from the other coin lot that we looked at, but we have a lot of 4. Again, either partial dates or no dates at all. The top right coin, from what I could gather, is the one single lone Bronze Age coin, so pre-1982 or 83. So that particular 4-coin lot, this one ended up selling for $49.88. Again, you could probably do okay here. The copper one right here, you could probably sell for about $25, and then $20 a piece for the other ones. Again, they're just going to sit around your store for a little while, but you'll occasionally sell the 1 or 2 in there. Take great photos, great listing titles, and you guys should be good to go on something like this. I wouldn't pay anything more than $50. Okay, that's reaching too much, and there's no opportunity there. We come across some pretty weird stuff. Here's yet again another. I guess you could call this one a triple error. Okay, so it's a 2001 Lincoln Memorial Cent, and I'm like thinking to myself, why isn't this thing graded? And it's a testament to the fact that you don't need to grade these. It just is what it is. So the coin is broad struck, number 1. Number 2, it's got a big indent, which means there is another coin, in this particular case, I believe an already struck coin, that was overlapping a blank planchet, and there is a little bit of a brockage on there as well, which is this reverse design impression that you see here from the overlapped coin. So yeah, you have a triple doozy here on this one. Pretty neat. This one ended up selling for $104.88. I mean, that is some pretty good money for this one. Yeah, and it's zinc too. So if you guys aren't too crazy about these, I'd certainly sell them, so that way they don't crumble apart in your hands over the short term, because the zinc composition on these, they don't do very good with moisture. So, either grade it or send it off, to someone that wants it and can appreciate it for what it is. So that's pretty neat. Nice little sale there. Or how about this one? Man, we haven't seen this one in a few weeks. 2021 Lincoln Shield Cent with another, yet again, field restricted strike through. This time it's going over the date like a meteor, meteor shower. That's what these things look like. That's why they're so widely collected. They're just neat. This one sold for $32.24. Again, keep an eye out for these. They're still out there, and we're only 2 years removed from this date, so there's going to be plenty more of where this came from. All right, and yet again, another incredible find from your local neighborhood $50 bank box. I'm sure you guys are finding a few of these. 1972D Kennedy $50 with the missing FG initials on the reverse. You can see that F and G is missing there between the leg and tail feathers, this is normally where it's nestled in. And that's simply an overpolished die issue from a Mint employee. So that's something that we've seen on a few dates, most specifically 1982, 83, and this one here, 72D, which is the tougher of the 3 dates. This one sold for $15.50. That's worth more than silver. So it's silver, 90% $50 right now is what, 12 and some change. This one right here, worth more than that. So sell it if you have it, because there's plenty more of these that you can find. Here's a neat one here. A very nice, decent, graded 1930 Lincoln wheat cent with just a single curved clip on there. And this one, by the way, the seller wants you to know that it does have a Blakesley effect, more noticeable on the reverse, where you see this flattened edge above unum. But all in all, a really nice high grade specimen right here. This one sold for $13 with 8 bids. There's a few like fingerprints on the coin, which does affect the value. And a pretty neat one here. My goodness, the currency these days has been kind of crazy. I think there's more people hunting for just anything interesting. And here's another one. 1969D $1 Fed Reserve note with a misaligned overprint. All right, so a good way to see that is see the green district seal. It's off center from where this spelled out 1 is here. Usually that's it, be perfectly centered. You can see that the bottom of this serial number is encroaching on Washington, D.C., which is part of the second print process. So anytime if you have some overlapping of the overprint and the other print from the second print, that's a good thing. This one's close. A little bit of misalignment, nothing too crazy. This one sold for $27.89 with 18 bids. And there's a back for you showing all of its circulation wear. So far from the perfect note. Well, here you go, guys. I saw this one. I'm like, wait a minute. This is a COVID era kind of like low quality strike here. All right. On a 2020 Roosevelt dime. You know, we've been dismissing this coin for the last like 3 years. And now we have a reason to look for these. Now, this is the first one, and not too many people know that this one even exists up until now. So, we're going to try our hardest for all of you that actually like hunting through dimes to find a much better example, number one. Number two, with much bigger strike throughs than this one. And this one is a Philadelphia minted coin, by the way, but you can see the kind of like the missing eyeball and the feeder finger scrapes in the ear. You can see the strike through behind the earlobe. I can imagine that there are other examples that are far more crazier than what this one is. And this one right here is pretty well circulated. So this one ended up selling for $15.50 with 13 bids. Some of the biggest errors sold for very little money before people actually cared and they went and actually searched and hunted for these. So this is, again, another opportunity for someone to go out there and look for it. You know, and it could be a coin that could jump up to $40-50 if it's in mint state condition. This one has a little bit of circulation wear. It doesn't have too many or too much of its original luster. So another coin from the 2020 pandemic period of production, which was ridiculous. And all this time, you know, nobody's really found anything on dimes, you know, nothing too crazy. And now we have this one here to, you know, kind of consider. All right, well, we got more currency. Now, this one's pretty nuts, okay? So the overprint's printed in 2 different processes. Okay, so you have the district seals that are printed separately from the serial numbers. So this one, you could see a misalignment in the seals, and then the serial numbers are slightly misaligned a little bit higher. So this seal here and the serial number is overlapping. That's crazy. This one right here ended up selling for $105.25. There's a little bit of the back. It does have a an errant stamp, take to trackdollar.com, which is unfortunate. But even with that still on there, this thing still sold for a C note, 20 times face value. So, again, much more crazy stuff to find out there in paper money. Oh, I love this thing. This is a strong one, 2022 Lincoln Shield cent with clash dies. So you can see the clashing here with the arrows. So the dies at one point made contact with each other when there wasn't a planchet in there. Okay, and it happens. So it transferred each other's image to each respective die, which will there in turn look like this on a finished product. So this one sold for $38.99. These things really never drop in price that heavy, and they've always seemed to sell in that $30 to $50 range. 2020 Salt River Bay. This one's actually pretty neat. You know, at first glance, you're like, wait, I don't see anything. What's going on here? But this is WDDO number 1. Strong doubling in the motto, "In God We Trust." You can see all the letters are stretched out, which is kind of neat. When you compare this with a regular one, you'll see the difference. This one is sold for $14.99. We also have this 1984. All right, nice, I would say ungraded specimen. We don't see too many of these ungraded anymore. Usually they're in a slab of some sort, even ones that look like this. The pebbly, kind of bubbly surface is plating blisters, which is par for the course on these, post 1982 era of Lincolns. But 1984 FS 101 doubled ear, or DDO number 1, is pretty nuts. This is again a bucket list coin for me to hunt for. Maybe one day I'll find one of these. But this one's in a pretty decent shape, and it's sold for $89.99. I believe this is a relist, and it's a 2004 D Wisconsin quarter, and it's got the low leaf variety. You can see that right there, even though the pictures are a little bit washed out in this case. So this one is still pretty solid seller at $76.58 with 19 bids. And here is the seldom looked at variety. A lot of people don't really, pay attention to this one because everybody's looking for the DDR, the FS801. But did you guys know there's an FS802? Probably not a lot of you do. So now is your opportunity to look for one of these, but a lot of your strongest doubling is going to be on United States of America. Check out the E and E pluribus unum. It's kind of got that distorted, stretched look as well, but the tops of all the letters are all thick and distorted. So, look out for that, and always compare it with another coin so you can tell the difference. It's like night and day. This one sold for, $54.99 was the sale price on this one. And it's like a VG coin, nothing too terribly crazy, but it's a scarce one. Here's a Roosevelt dime, and this one is a 1971D. Wow, that's a kind of a tough date. It's off center by about 75%. Very nice high-grade example, copper nickel clad era. So this one has all the important stuff to it. Great design, full date, great condition. Nothing too terribly crazy with that. And this one sold for $34.25 with 12 bids. And again, the kind of find it hard to believe crowd, we have yet again another one. This $1 silver certificate this time, 1935D series with a butterfly fold. Remember, back in the day, these things were all over the place. People just ripped them off out of convenience, So that always hurts when you hear stuff about that. But, if you do come across one and it's still folded over like this one probably was, that is a true gem right there. And, this is something that normally, if you got it face value or you paid maybe $2 or $3 for, you could end up flipping this one, in this case for $56.11 with 12 bids. So there was a lot of activity on this one, and people really are interested in these type of errors. We also have a 1995 Lincoln Memorial. This one is the ever-famous FS 101 doubled die obverse. Check out the motto, "In God We Trust and Liberty," and that's really all you need to know. Popular even still to this day. This one sold for $45.98. Still some pretty strong pricing on this one. Another piece of currency, and this might be the last one for the day, and I think it is. So we got 1977A $10 Fed Reserve note. Again, look at the front of the note. Nothing too terribly crazy that would catch your eye, but flip that bad boy over. Whew, you have a full 100% front-to-back wet ink transfer. So everything's all mirrored backwards, exactly like you want to see it on this particular error. And because it's a full transfer, that's perfect. That's going to be the most collectible. But this happens when there's some residual ink on the impression cylinder. So if there was no sheet and the printing plates and the impression cylinder make contact, you're going to have some of that design on the impression cylinder, which is really supposed to be clean. So this one right here, ladies and gentlemen, sold for $107.68 with 15 bids. And another big one, boy, the hits just keep on coming. 1884 Carson City Morgan dollar, a coin that is already a legacy for a lot of collectors. You know, it's very well known. It's Old West. It's got all the cachet with it, right? But this one has a really cool strike through on the reverse. You can see that there over the word God and we, or in between the two. So impressive. And what's even more impressive is still in the GSA holder, as you can see here with the original box and everything like that. This one ended up selling for $460. Raw versions of this coin is currently running $3.25 to $3.50. So not a terribly huge premium, but if you do come across it, make sure you throw that error in there, because it's Carson City. They will pay a little bit more for you, and you know, you should do really well on this. And again, you don't have to grade them if you don't want to. Now, we've seen a few of these in past shows, but we have yet again another premier example. 1983p, all center by about 15-20%. Pretty easy here. Really nice condition. It's got it all for a collector of by date for this era. This one sold for $50.85 with 11 bids. Check your silver, guys, man. You would not believe how many times people have overlooked things like this. And they're at first glance, they're like nothing special, and they're very innocent. 1924, very common day piece dollar. You can find this in junk bins everywhere. But take a look at that. Defective planchet, where you see the black arrows, probably you know, a clamshell lamination that has cracked through on the surface there. And you know, realistically, you could force that off, but don't do that. It's going to make the coin worth a lot less. It's always better to have that on there. So essentially, you're turning a $30 coin if you were going to buy it at a coin shop. This one ended up being $120, all because of that mint error there. And our good old bat boy here, 2020p, American Samoa. Again, another great example of the blind bat strike through. A small one this time around, but you could see the feeder finger scrapes in the fields. Always a good one, even as small as this one. This one ended up selling for $51.01 with 8 bids. And then finally, the coin that has eluded us, I would say, for the last few months. And then now we have another nice example. That, boy, that fingerprint kills me on the obverse. But you guys know these things were popular. These things sold for hundreds of dollars back in the day. So do we still have value here? Yeah, I'd say we do. 2021 is the date, even though it doesn't show it. Lincoln Shield Cent with the retain cud die break, and it's also got the internal die break as well. So very impressive. I love these things. $228.50 with 16 bids this time around. That is some high power money. And again, that's with the fingerprints on the front of the coin. That does affect value. But that's going to go ahead and wrap her up today on the good old Pocket Change Market Report. Some big gems to talk about and to find as well. I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck in all of your hunting endeavors. So go out there and make some memories, look for these things, and enjoy the hobby. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content and the channel. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. It was a pleasure. I thank you guys yet again for another fantastic show and all the support in the world. So I'm going to leave here today, but you guys are going to take over and you're going to find some of these coins. All right, so long, good luck, and I'll see you next time.